Hello and welcome to the Monday Agenda. On this program today, I'm greatly honored to have with me the country director for HDIF, Mr. Joseph Manirakiza, and Adam Bial, who is the managing director for Sahara Ventures. And we're going to look onto, among other things, innovation, but specifically Global Innovation Index. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we dwell into the Global Innovation Index, can we understand how Sahara Ventures and, of course, HDIF promote innovation in Tanzania?
So Sahara Ventures is a group of companies with a mission of building a stable innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Africa, with a specific zone of Tanzania. It's a local-owned company. We have 3 companies. We do promotion of the sector by consultancy through accelerating business, especially the startup companies or emerging companies, and as well as we do have a promotion wing, which is our event mode now, which is called Sahara Sparks. And Sahara Sparks has been here for now 4th year, and every year we have a thematic area that we are focusing on. This year we'll be focusing on Africa's in the 4th industrial revolutions. Last year we were focusing around innovation in the data age. Over 700 delegates, partly 50% of them almost coming across Africa and the world. We are here in Dar es Salaam. We are spanning to other cities now: Nairobi, Kampala, Lagos, Johannesburg, and this year we are doing it in Helsinki for a Nordic Sparks. And our aim is to try to pull investors and technological transfer for the European companies that are seeking to introduce their technology in Tanzania and Africa in general, as well as the vice versa, those who are seeking to forge or partner with their colleagues in Europe. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically about what we do.
And what specifically do you do to startups? Because we have 1,000,001 startups that straight ahead I can mention, 1,000,001. So what specifically do you do to startups?
Yeah, one of the key issues that together with the other ecosystem players, we are really dwelling ourselves is to have what we call a pipeline of value. So on the innovation ecosystem, we have those who start by ideating, supporting early stage innovators and business mindsets people, to support them with ideate their businesses to prototype. There are those who are supporting them at the most viable product, and those who support the such companies to at the level of go-to-market strategy, or supporting them with finding for scaling up fund to scale up their businesses. Okay. So our focus is to support these companies that are looking to go and scale up their business, or they are trying to go to market at proof of concept level. Okay. Those with already a proven number of marketability and selling. Mm-hmm. So we help them at least to help them to go to market with a go-to-market strategy. We help them with, where possible, seed fund to at least go to market to prove their concept so that they can be scaled up, and largely to support them to what we call investor ready. Okay. For the investment readiness. Yes.
All right, excellent. Yeah. Mr. Joseph.
Yep.
HDIF.
Yes.
I know there's a lot you've been doing, but for the sake of our viewers watching the Capital TV, the Monday Agenda right now, probably a brief one or two about your organization.
Yes. Well, HDF stands for Human Development Innovation Fund. It's a project that has been set up by the UK aid through the funding from the British government. And basically, it's been set up to promote and support innovations, like general, not just technological innovation, but innovation also in a kind of general sense. We basically do 3 things. One is to what we copped as inspire. We kind of inspire the future generation of innovators, and we do that by working with the innovation ecosystem players like the Sahara Ventures of this world, the innovation hubs, and other enablers to kind of push the youth and other people to think innovatively on how to come up with new ideas, new approaches to solve societal issues. So that one. Of course, do that in so many ways, like supporting events like Young Artist and which is going on right now, or supporting other innovative awards that innovation hubs are coming up here and then, and working with COSTECH that has its own hub, like Buni Hub, to inspire more university students to come up with, to think creatively. So that's one of the things among the things that we do. The other component of the program is we do normally run challenges, like competition where people apply to with innovative projects to be supported financially and with technical assistance. So with that, we have funded to date 43 projects.
43?
Yes, that have been submitted, that have gone through a competition. And I mean, come up with 43, we saw like about 1,400 applications to come with 43.
These are the projects that you've already funded?
Those are the projects we have already funded.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are still ongoing, others have completed their project and then are continuing on their own.
Okay.
And they come from a range of whether it's NGOs, businesses, or other organizations who partner with even other public institutions. And the other part that we have is what we call transform. By doing all this, what we are seeking basically to learn from what we find and what we support, and then put together learnings or what we call knowledge products to share with whether it's policymakers or other donor partners or the ecosystem enablers or players, that this is what we are seeing. If you want to scale up this particular innovation, these are how you can find them. These are the kind of learning that we have had from them, and we can start from there. Yeah, so we do inspire, we do catalyze, and also we do transform through the learning that we have.
Is Tanzania within the index? Where do we stand? What is it and where do we stand as a country?
The Global Innovation Index, it's a project that was started at INSEAD, that's the global university. They partnered with Cornell University and also the World Intellectual Property Organization, which is a UN agency. And the aim was basically to come up with the best way of measuring innovation, or how countries are becoming more innovative, or how they are kind of leveraging on the new technology to come up with new ideas, new approaches, new products. So that's how it started in 2007. And they do issue a report, what they call the Global Innovation Index report, every year since 2007. So recently, I think it was on 24th of July this month, they launched the Global Innovation Index Report 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So what that does, like every country, every participating country, they kind of look at themselves like, where do we stand in this particular year as compared to how we did last year?
Okay.
So they look at so many aspects of the innovation activities. And this time around, it's actually 129 countries that were polled and surveyed. Last year it was 126 countries. Okay. So that's over almost 92% of all the countries in the world in the whole population. So you can say that it's kind of very representative.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, we ask about where Tanzania stands.
Are we featured in the report?
Yes, we have
where do we stand?
We have actually been featuring the report, I think, since 2013 or 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And until last year, we had been making progress. Okay. Yeah, because when it started, the first report I saw actually in 2013, Tanzania was number 113, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Last year in 2018, it was ranked at 92. Okay. So it had gone up by almost 21 places. This year it has slipped a little bit. It's at 97. Wow. So there, if you look at the features of the report, like, okay, maybe we have slipped here, we have slipped there, and there. So, and then we also compare ourselves with, okay, how are other countries doing? Okay. Yeah. So that's basically what the report does. And for us who are kind of acting the innovation ecosystem, it kind of gives you an idea of where should we start to kind of improve. Absolutely. Yeah. What should the players or the innovation hubs, the players like the government, what should they do to support the growth of innovation? So that's now when we start going to the major component of this index. like looking at the institutions, for instance, like where did we stand last year? Where are we right now? And what should be improved?
Okay.
Yeah, so it has stuff like institutions, human capital and the research. It looks like the business environment, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite a very informative kind of report if you want to benchmark yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
We ought to use innovation to address some of the challenges that the society is facing. Tanzania is encountering a number of challenges. I wouldn't mention 1, 2, 3. You probably not cite 1 or 2 innovation examples that have been addressed into that area, but some of the striking innovations that, you know, Sahara Ventures could really be proud of. Would you probably talk about them?
There are some interesting example that we might be in one way or the other cherishing. First of all, I want to recognize the effort by HDIF, specifically on the area of human development, specifically on the health sector.
Okay.
And I would really say that I feel this time, by the way, the report has specifically channeled itself on the health,
medical
innovations. And what we are seeing is not just as coming abruptly, it's been invested, and Hdif is part of one of the institutions has invested very heavily on the area of innovation, specifically on the health sector.
Okay.
Ourselves, for example, we have worked with them. We've been their partner on one of the challenge called the Mawazo Challenge, Mawazo Challenges, okay, which was looking into supporting medical and allied science students to come up with innovation ideas that they are encountering in their daily studying lives, to come up with and see how we can solve some of the challenges on the medical sector. And out of 200, I think, ideas came from that challenge, and 10 best innovation emerged, which some of these innovations, as I'm speaking, they are operating up and running. I have one which I normally really refer to, FarmLink, for example. Mm-hmm. They were looking how they can support the supply chain of the medical from the high end of the wholesale pharmaceutical sale to the lower end, to the normal pharmacies, and so many such innovations. What I can say briefly is some of these challenges, some of these ideas and now startup companies that have emerged from that sector, they are still existing. All of these 10 companies are still existing.
Some of them?
All of them.
All of them, okay.
This is a proof that that program helped them. It is 3 years now, I think, since we did the Mawazo Challenge.
Yeah, it was in 2017.
And it has, first of all, provided solution to some of the challenges, but as well, they have supported employment or economic benefit to those students that were looking to not only to be a medical student, but also now they are employed doing their businesses. But you find the innovations and disruption of the way the health sector is in terms of like the use of artificial intelligence to support the health sector, support doctor faster, how the technology now, especially the digital technology, is supporting the larger health sector, which has one of the challenge short in staffing. So I think there's more to be proud of what is happening in Tanzania so far as health innovation is concerned.
Are we truly looking onto innovation that would address the gap in this sector, or we're looking onto technology based on what other countries, as you said, I picked your point, comparing to other countries, or do we really look onto what could really, benefit the mass, the majority?
You can look at it from different angles. One, it's important to kind of agree that we are not that advanced technologically compared to our counterpart in developed countries, right? And they have gone through steps to reach where they are.
Correct.
But we have an advantage of being able to leapfrog. We don't have to go through all the process they have gone through.
That's
right.
correct.
By leapfrogging, it means you can actually use their technology to improve your services.
Absolutely.
Or maybe localize their technology to improve your services. And that's why I think Tanzania, we are at a place where you can actually learn, because I mean the government's investing heavily into. If you look at what some of the hospitals are doing right now, the kind of operation that were not possible in the country, but are now being done at. You go to Moi, you go to Jakaya Kikwete, you go to Benjamin Mkapa kind of hospitals. Right now they can do open heart surgery. They never used to do that.
Correct.
But they are doing that to be able to partner with the more technologically advanced countries. So that one. The issues like telemedicine, I think it's been considered heavily in Tanzania. Probably we are not kind of promoting it heavily, but most of our professionals in the medical field are actually using it, because they are interacting with doctors in other countries to share knowledge. Yeah, and they have a lot of technical expertise exchange that is happening right now in the hospitals. Maybe what we could do more is kind of promoting exactly what is happening, right? But when you come back to, for instance, some of the examples we have funded here, you might feel like there's not much happening, but I think there's actually a lot happening.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
For instance, I can give an example. He talked about the Mawazo Challenge initiative that we did 2 years ago, partnering with the likes of Sahara Ventures and another partner called Tanzania Bora Initiative.
Okay.
Of course, it came about from the public. Okay, we asked them, what if you were to suggest something that we can support, what could that be? So it was through social media. The public just voted, and we got 3 key ideas. So one of working with the medical students was one of them, and it actually won. So we just launched a challenge that just implement it. You could be surprised, because initially people would think that medical students are just busy like throughout, they don't want to think about anything else. So it was a challenge to them, like, can you think beyond your 4 walls of classroom? How can you apply your knowledge to solve the societal issues? So that's where the 10 startup ideas came up. And some of them have actually evolved into companies which are running. Okay. Yeah, the farm link is talking about, there's another called Afya Mama. So there's quite a number that have been, so it was like that one, okay. And the other part that, for instance, that we've supported, some of them you must say, okay, this is just kind of low-tech innovation. But to us, what we look at is, how can you make use of the available network or infrastructure or technological innovations to solve a problem which is facing the local or urban or rural population, for instance. There's one of the grantees that was very successful. It's called AFTA. It's Association of Private Health Facilities in Tanzania. This, I think that was implemented by the government some years ago. They set up what they call Accredited Drug Dispensing Outlet, ADO, just to be able to regulate how people can get access to prescribed medicine. Okay. So some of the ADOs are just in the village, in rural area, and they depend on roads, which are not always good, to get supplies from the cities. Correct. And you find that they're actually exposed to getting access to drugs which have expired, or others which are not of good quality, or maybe they're just counterfeit. Sadly. Yeah, so they're like, okay, how can we support these people to be able to be safe, to get quality supply at more affordable price? So they came to us like they can rely on the existing mobile technology, the existing network of these ADOs, and the association that they have, so they have a network. Like we can actually rely on this, so they can be able to supply to these people. They can get access to loans through, like affordable loans through mobile technology. And then we deliver to them their supplies without necessarily having to come all the way from the village. So it's like, okay, maybe let's try it. So they just set up what they call the African, it's Afya Microfinance Institution. Okay. They had been thinking about it, but they couldn't get anyone to give them money to them. And the normal banks do not lend to these adults. They are too small for them. Yeah. And if they were going to lend to them, like, okay, they just too not affordable to them. It's like, okay, let's just try it. They gave them like a seed capital. Okay. Within 18 months, they had already committed, they have already said, like, now we can actually take off on our own.
their
So
own,
now
okay.
it's actually an operating microfinance. It's going to transform into a bank, focusing on the health sector alone. We are talking about adults in Ifakara, adults in Mbalizi, Mbeya.
Yes.
So like remote areas that would be difficult to reach. So that's the kind of innovation we're talking about, but just relying on what is existing to be able to improve and provide service delivery.
The focus is on the medical field.
Yes.
For this year. And as you rightly said, Tanzania is ranked 97th. What does that tell?
Maybe just to, it's not like the report is just focused on medical and healthcare innovation particularly. It's every year they come up with a theme. Okay. So what they do for that theme, they have there are a lot of chapters that are more like case studies. Okay. Last year, the focus was on energy. Okay. So they give case studies on how innovations are disrupting the energy sector, coming up with renewable energy, green energy, stuff like that. So this year the theme, they still do the normal innovation ranking, the kind of output, the knowledge product that you are coming up with, and the patent that you are registering every year, the kind of creative, innovative product that you are coming up with. So what it actually tells us right now, especially when it comes to the medical field and the eruption that we're talking about. So it's just a matter of going back to see, okay, one, how can we be able to use innovation, maybe and data, to predict when these kind of eruptions can come, or what caused this, for instance, because medical professionals or epidemiologists can actually tell you that looking at the kind of weather we have experienced in the past 4 months, the past 1 year, it's highly likely that next year we're going to have a high eruption of mosquitoes. So you should be ready for malaria, for instance. So just looking at the trends, look at the data, it can actually tell you, okay, we should be ready for this. So once you have that kind of data, that kind of information, is how do our institutions now get ready to fight that, to prevent that before it happens? Okay. So that's to add the kind of issue, how do we prepare? Okay. Because sometimes eruptions you cannot predict where they're coming, but you can use data to be able to prepare yourself how you're going to fight it, so it doesn't become a bigger problem. Okay. Yeah. So that's how innovation can be able to help you. But again, how fast do you respond? Yeah. So that comes into your own processes, because innovation also touches on the process that you have to follow. Absolutely. Yeah. You have an epidemic. Do you have to spend months sitting in boardrooms thinking about how you are going to fight it when people are dying on the field? How easy, how fast can you mobilize? How depend on innovation to be able to respond much faster? Yeah, so that people do not die in masses. So that's kind of a better way of using innovation. And
we're looking onto innovation in general because innovation is a song that we sing every day. And since Tanzania is geared towards middle-income state, industrialized nation, then innovation is what it takes. And maybe to understand more on Sahara Ventures, you've been in the industry for the past 4 or 5 years. We hear smaller companies, smaller projects in other countries, but they speak volumes. Vis-a-vis Tanzania, are we not proud of our own innovation? Are we not proud of our own inventions? That we only get to hear about Mawazo, we only get to hear about the agri, the project that you've mentioned, and actually, like the one you've mentioned, the use of mobile technology. Why is it that we do not hear of this so that we can probably make full use of them? Are we not proud of our own innovations? If probably was a foreign organization, probably would have been in our ears today. I stand to be corrected. You're on the ground. Yeah. So tell us, what do you think should be done?
I want to take you back on what does that 97th means to us, because maybe our viewers will just say, if it is 97th means there's another a couple of 90s that have passed. Why are we looking like we are okay with number 97th? First of all, it should be known within that number, only 7 countries of Africa have gone to that number. Okay. We being the 7th out of that number. Okay. So among all the nations in Africa, we are only 7 countries that have been mentioned on 100 best on the index.
Wow.
Tanzania being the 97th. So at least we should not forget that number as well. And but there are some rather eye-opener numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We have been dropped to 3 numbers compared to the last number,
The previous record,
one.
okay.
So all of these must be part of our discussion and why this, what does it mean, and all that. But really, Tanzania has not gone to this league of innovation for quite some. It has been a new entrant, I would say, in one way or the other, comparative to the country like South Africa, Kenya, and all that. Major investment have been done marginally, I would say, the last 5 years, with the Hdif, the Finnish coming in and investing on some, and yes, there's been active interventions and implementation led by the COSTECH.
Okay.
But we need to do more. I would say one of the things that Tanzania is not seen doing big, one of the very challenges that we are having first and foremost is, I think, we're not telling our story. A lot of other countries are telling their story.
Correct.
And
By
far. And some of the things are bitterly irritating when we see. I was in another country, one of the country, I remember someone saying that the 3D printer has been first innovated in that country. But I know in Tanzania a 3D printer was made with the Buni Hub the last 7 years back.
Okay.
But we haven't come up, tell that story to the world to know that we are coming with such innovations.
Do you want to blame this country for one reason or the other?
No, I'm not blaming.
We've had instances.
I'm putting the challenge to all of us.
No, we've had instances where Kenya said Kilimanjaro is in Kenya.
You know,
Yeah,
we're not
so-
telling our story.
Uh-huh.
And we need to tell our story. Rwanda have gone up by 3 points. But what is very new to Rwanda in terms of innovations that we haven't done? Is it not that we're not telling our story? So knowing that, we are really, as far as we're concerned, pushing for agenda, compared to working with our other key stakeholders and in the ecosystem, to come up with at least an initiative that will collectively gauge or come and make us together, or tell our story, or move that story to other, or at least when someone is looking to get to understand what is innovation ecosystem is doing in Tanzania, is something where it can refer to. We have come with an initiative, we've called it Silicon Da, where we're trying to champion an initiative of an ecosystem players to come together and at least push one of the districts around Dar es Salaam to be a technological and entrepreneurship and innovation district. But if you want to do that, you need policy. You need players to understand what does that mean. You need the ecosystem to not take that as personal, but to look at as something to work out collectively in pushing the agenda. We believe that if we have such technological park or innovation parks, it helps spread or push the innovation and innovation ecosystem to much, or at least to be understood to other peers. So there is a need. We need to do more with this number, but this number tells us if we haven't done so much enough and we are getting this number, if we could have done better, we could have done much more, or at least that the country will be in a good position. And I believe if we do more investment on the sector, if we work out on our policies and legal and regulatory structure that will be conducive for the innovations to take place in the country, will make our innovators to get more services, more access to funding, more partnership for them to scale up their businesses. This will make more people to come up and try to go into ecosystem. At least we expand our sphere.
As a player in the ecosystem, I would have supposed probably you had the solution. Probably you would, give an answer or two. But let me give you some moment to think about that. And
we have
ask
done
yourself.
that. I'll just chip in.
Please.
With the Silicon DA, for example,
yes.
It's an initiative we are self-sponsoring, but we are calling other actors to work on. We have opened a platform, specific platform that will showcase who are these ecosystem players, where are they, what are their details. So if now you go to www.siliconda.org, you can go to all the key information about the ecosystem.
Okay.
We have launched a report about this ecosystem. Hdif also launched a report before on ecosystem mapping. Such initiative should be upheld. Such initiative should be taken so that at least we tell the story in that way. So if you Google now in Tanzania innovation ecosystem, at least you get some case stories that you can refer. People like these, when they are doing such researches, it is such information that help them to get a reference to their researchers. And if we make sure that we document as many as possible such information, it is with this kind of work that we can be noticed.
It's very true. We haven't invested much in promoting the good story that come out of Tanzania compared to the countries you've mentioned.
Yeah.
So countries actually do invest heavily in PR. Even if they just do one thing, it has to kind of become viral. Yeah. That's great. But they have somewhere to start from, right? So we should be doing maybe two things. One, build the foundation to start from telling that story. You cannot just tell an empty story. It's going to be empty. It's just going to be a story.
Yeah.
So somebody just comes like, well, what is actually beneath that story, and then nothing. So we have to do that. So the challenge to innovation ecosystem players, but when I say ecosystem innovation players, just all of us. Yeah. People are trying to kind of disrupt it, catalyzing it, like the innovation hubs, policy makers, like the government. That's why we are now working heavily with COSTECH to reach out to other ministries to be able to let's just start discussing, pushing the innovation agenda. The country strategy right now is industrialization.
Correct.
It's not going to happen if you don't invest heavily in innovation. If we don't come up with the best environment which is going to make innovators and inventors flourish. So that's one. But also the other key thing that we are not talking about, yesterday I was in a meeting with the University of Dar es Salaam. They have this University of Dar es Salaam Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. A challenge to them, you know what, we cannot say that we're going to reach industrialization that we want if you guys are not producing the kind of graduates who are going to disrupt this country. So the kind of knowledge that you are imparting, is it still relevant? If you are going to stay for more than 10 years without revising your curriculum, and you still teach kids subjects which are relevant 20 years ago, what are we doing? So we all have to come together. And I talked about as now in our transform kind of agenda is we do put together all this knowledge, of course, with other people, what they're actually producing, and put them available online, everyone should be able to see. For instance, last year, we launched what we call the reflection kind of piece, which looks at where we came from since 2014 to 2018, what kind of lessons we have learned. So it kind of gives you guidelines on what needs to be done on skills development, on financing innovation, because that's a key thing that we are now talking about to other players in the innovation ecosystem, to say, if you want to fund innovation, these are the things that you should be able to follow. If you want to improve the skills area, these are the kind of people that you talk to. So that reflection piece, he talked about the ecosystem mapping. People would ask, okay, where are the innovators?
Yes.
Okay, fine, let's just start from here. We developed this report, kind of mapping out who are the innovators, where are the hubs, and then put it online. Now we're improving that online platform, so people can be able to get to and then actually be able to, if you want to work in, let's say, fintech, who should you talk to? You want to partner with the hub, which is trying to, let's say, to catalyze or accelerate startups with okay, Sahara Sparks is here, ANZA in Arusha is here, Buni Hub is here to work with the students.
Yeah.
And we are supporting the universities in Tanzania to set up their own hubs.
Okay.
So it actually show you, okay, you can actually find them here on the map. Yeah. And when we do implement initiative like Mawazo Challenge, the key out, we have to produce a report and we make it available. So like, okay, this is how you can run a challenge which is going to involve students, for instance. So all that, when it's available, even when they are compiling this report, at least they can get data to start from. Because one of the key challenges that they're even citing in these reports is there are some of the countries that you do not get information. Okay. So if you don't have information available, don't come and complain later that you are ranked lowly.
just to sum up, the program has run so fast, and I can speak innovation because I'm passionate so much about it, and I trained in entrepreneurship, so I'm as well, pretesting some of the concepts I have in my head. But just to wrap up the Monday agenda on innovation, Rwanda is already producing a mobile phone from the scratch, everything from its country. Nothing imported.
Nothing imported.
Nothing imported.
Interesting.
Where do we see? This is our final comment from my two special guests. Where do we see the face of innovation in Tanzania?
One, I choose to be optimistic.
Okay.
In 6 years, innovation is going to. I mean, the innovation ecosystem. You can actually see the trend.
Correct.
We are not where we used to be 5 years ago.
That's correct.
So I can testify that in 2025 we are not going to be where we are right now, because you can see there's a lot of investment coming in, and some of the enablers, like if you look at energy, if all the investment we're talking about is going to be successful,
the likes of Stigler,
yeah, and other initiatives, if they're going to be successful, that's like the platform for innovation to flourish. You can look at the internet penetration is still going up. So there are all the drivers which are here. Okay. So we just need to do one thing. Let's kind of willingly and intentionally invest in some area that we are still holding us behind. The educational system is still something that we still work on. There is at least some of the initiatives that are happening in our area right now. Recently, actually it was late last year, the government launched what they call the national guidelines to identify and promote invention, innovation, and traditional knowledge product. That wasn't there before. So, and COSTECH has been given a huge responsibility to actually pull that forward. Okay. So at least there are some of the kind of, information which is being laid. Okay. And that's sure that I think the near future, at least we are going to be there. To me, it's like, well, do we really have to compete? I mean, when someone comes up with something and we have to come up with something else? Maybe not. Why don't we just cooperate? Like, oh, you are coming up with a mobile phone? Fine, maybe you can come and learn from us. We can come and learn from you.
Absolutely.
But we can do something else that you can also come and learn from us. Now we are even solidifying the East African community is actually becoming the Pan-African kind of free trade area. So we should look at where we have the competitive advantage and capitalize on that.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and then cooperate with others where they have like competitive advantage.
Excellent. Adam, your 1 minute of fame.
Yeah.
Face of innovation, 5-6 years to come in Tanzania.
I will go with a wish. Like,
what's your wish?
if we want that 5-6 of Tanzanians to be a leader in innovation in a region, or at least in our category, I think there are some things that we need to improve more, that really in one way or the other they can support or help to catalyze the development we have already had in the ecosystem. I think, one, we need to rethink about our education system, because skills gap and skills mismatch in this country, as far as the innovation ecosystem, is hugely big. So we need to do something around our education. I think we need to do something about our policy in terms of investment, financing, because we can do the innovations. And for the innovation to make sense, it should be commercialized. And if you say you need to commercialize that area, you need to rethink how are you financing the startup companies, the innovators. So we need to work out more on the way we are our policy around in financing the startup. Or you see other country coming with something like a startup act, where it supports the ecosystem. After the innovation, then you need to push that to commercializations to make it more sense. So I feel like we need to do something around our policy or act around that area. We need to do something on our education for skills mismatch. And yes, we need to create more innovation ecosystem players, so at least it goes even beyond Dar es Salaam.
I was greatly honored to have interacted. I wouldn't say like mine, these gentlemen are way ahead of me, but Mr. Joseph Monirakiza, who is the country director for HDIF, and Mr. Adam Mbialu, who is the managing director for Sahara Ventures. Until then, you're watching the Monday Agenda. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, Austin Makani.